All right, so welcome to Autodesk Mudbox. Here I am sculpting this stylized knight, and I'm sort of building up the main forms and again working on a very low subdivision mesh overall. And you'll see me add more subdivisions and more layers and kind of work my way up. That's sort of a sculptor's basically structure is basically to slowly add more divisions and build their way up. So working with the major forms, here I am sort of developing the more of the main, kind of adding some more textural detail. And ultimately, at the very end of this, I don't know if I was very satisfied with this. It's a one-shot kind of deal here, but it is fast forwarded quite a bit. So this video is only about 4 minutes long, but it shows the whole process, basically going through. One thing, as you add some more subdivisions, you can pick up more textural detail. So the clay mesh brush, basically clay buildup brush, was able to pick up more detail, which is kind of cool. Overall, here I am kind of pulling out the main, trying to direct it in different areas, just to add a little more detail, again, by sculpting into it. And at times I'll be carving in and bringing it back. So each time I add some part, sometimes I'll invert that in terms of the sculpt by holding the control key and sort of carve into the detail. So this next grouping, basically, I just take a little bit further and try and get more of the texturing to start happening. At some point throughout here, I figured out that I don't want to create, necessarily a realistic looking horse. I was thinking, this is a chess piece, so giving it kind of a wood or stone kind of quality would be kind of cool. And so I use the imprint tool here in a sec to create some interesting detail. And the imprint tool basically can apply textures, but you have to have a high enough subdivision level to kind of get it to go. So here I am adding sort of like vein structures, more detail in the nostrils, and then going back, just adjusting some stuff as I go down in layers. That's why you see the smoothing, and then it goes back up to a higher division at the highest division. And at a certain point, looks like right about here, here's the imprint tool. So you can see here it adds really cool textual detail. And I think I went probably overboard with it, but I wanted to go for it. Nice thing about working with layers is you can reduce the opacity of the layer or remove it completely if you like. Here I am working it asymmetrically and pulling out the mains in different directions. So I turn off the mirroring axis on the x-axis. It's important to do that at some point, and during your sculpt, you have to start working asymmetrically. It's a little more work because you have to sculpt on each side, but it gives it a more realistic character to whatever you're sculpting, because not everything is perfectly symmetrical. For the most part, everything's asymmetrical, at least with organic things. So here I am just adding a ton of imprint textures, just experimenting with different stencils, having lots of fun, basically just moving around. And at one point, I decided the nostril needs to come out bigger, and I'm not quite sure if I'm quite finished, with it even at this point. But the eye sockets seem a little exaggerated to me, and the nostrils. But it's hard to tell because I need to put some teeth in. I'm going to do that in Maya next, and we'll see how this all comes together in the next tutorial. I'll bring in a texture map and so forth. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoy this little speed through in Autodesk Mudbox. Cheers!